Here we are back inside Amerant Bank Arena. Dennis Bernstein, Dave Pagnotta, gearing up for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final between the Florida Panthers and Edmonton Oilers. Our coverage of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final is brought to you, as always, by Carlsberg. Probably the best beer in the world.
Nice suit, by the way. Nice color, Dave.
Yes, very nice. You too.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Glad we coordinated, made this happen. How coordinated are the Edmonton Oilers going to be tonight against the Florida Panthers team after what we saw in Game 3?
They need to refocus, Dave. They can't play the game they played in Game 3. And I don't mean losing 6-1. The style of play has to change. They have to be more focused, concentrate on being the faster team, the better team, and not making those silly mistakes that they made in Game 3. If they do that, they have a chance to emerge with a tie going back to Edmonton.
We have some changes in the lineup for the Edmonton Oilers. Yeah. Victor Arvidsson out, Jeff Skinner coming in, and Troy Stecher comes in for John Klingberg, something we wondered about after the game on Monday. Stuart Skinner gets the start, and Connor Brown moves up to the top line alongside Connor McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Corey Perry down to the fourth.
Yeah, no problem with that. Chris Knoblauch has to change the paradigm with respect to how this team played and by inserting new players, especially Stecher, who's played really good when he's gone in, Dave.
Yeah.
And I think Stetcher's going to be paired with Nurse, which would be, I think, in Game 1, it would be an unusual pairing, but that seems to work, so we'll see if it's more effective defensively against the Panthers.
Yeah, we certainly will. And from Florida's perspective, just
more of the same.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, they played a great. They got to the game much quicker than the Edmonton Oilers did in Game 3. That's why they won the game. And the Oilers can try the rough stuff, but you're doing that against the wrong team, Dave. It's the absolutely wrong team to try that against. It's got to be speed and skill, outclassing the competition. That's what the Oilers have to do. The Panthers are comfortable playing here and playing that style of game.
So we're going to get into some league stuff because there was a trade earlier today and some other movement going on around the National Hockey League. But as we do every pregame, we got to give our picks and prediction here. So what do you got?
Well, since I have the Oilers in 7 and I doubt they get out of a 1-3 hole, they lose tonight, I'll go with the Oilers 4-3.
Okay. Yeah, I am expecting a tighter game. I'm not expecting what we saw in Game 3. I originally had Edmonton before the series started. I'm 3 for 3 so far in all these games. I'm switching my pick. I'm going Florida tonight.
Monday night changed your mind.
I still think we're going 6. I think we're back here next week. Okay. But I'm going Florida tonight, 3-2, 4-2 kind of game for me. So we will see what happens. The New York Rangers, Anaheim Ducks active today. Chris Kreider officially getting traded to the Anaheim Ducks. Full $6.5 million cap hit goes with them, and it comes off the books for the Rangers.
Ranger fans, what did we tell you about no trade clauses and no movement clauses? Sometimes they get waived. And the right move for Chris Kreider needs to change the Cerny. The right move for the Ducks, they need more scoring up front. So I think a trade that will work for both teams. And hopefully Chris Kreider finds his game again because he had a rough season in New York this season.
Yeah, there were multiple teams. It wasn't just the Ducks that were interested in Chris Kreider, but they got to the finish line. Kreider ended up signing off. The Ducks were one of the teams on his no-trade list. So they got all kind of that stuff finalized last night and this morning. And away we go. I don't think either of these teams are done. The Rangers continue to have discussions with other clubs involving Keandre Miller. As we mentioned earlier in the week, Mika Zibanejad, if they want to get super creative, that's another possibility. And some others on that roster. From Anaheim's perspective, they still have a lot of money, and they're willing to spend it.
Absolutely. And they're going to be probably one of the contenders for Mitch Marner if he gets to July 1st.
Yep, certainly. Speaking of which, I anticipate Carolina being very hot and heavy for Mitch Marner. In this one, we're hearing stuff about Columbus and, of course, L.A., Vegas, and some of the other usual suspects, Utah, and so on. Some of the other stuff going around the National Hockey League. Some chatter picking up around the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not just Erik Karlsson in play, but teams are starting to poke around on some of their other guys because Pittsburgh is going through their full rebuild. I wonder about Rickard Rakell and Brian Rust.
Yep.
Some no-trade protection there as well.
Yeah, well, you're treating a 35-goal scorer, and Rickard Rakell had a great season. And, if the Kings can land Mitch Marner, Rakell on the right side next to Kopitar and Kempe, that wouldn't look bad either.
Yeah, they tried ahead of the trade deadline. They went after Rickard Rakell. The Kings didn't happen. So, yeah, if Marner's out of the mix, if Brock Besser's out of the mix, maybe something in July. At the very least, Ken Holland can poke around. Of course, that was Rob Blake doing it last year, or this past season. In addition to that, some other stuff that we're hearing, the Montreal Canadiens, very active, it appears, in trying to bring in upgrades up and down the lineup. We know about the reports of Nick Hague and the interest levels there, but also trying to bring in, no secret, a second-line center.
Absolutely, yep.
But can they bring in a mid-six winger as well to add to their scoring touch?
Yeah, why not? Look, I think making the playoffs with house money like they did this year. Nobody thought they would get there. It's given them impetus to be more aggressive in the offseason. So, but I agree with you on 2C. But, yeah, they need more scoring as well. So I wouldn't be surprised about a middle six winger that you mentioned.
We'll see how they go in that direction. Another team expected to be aggressive, the Ottawa Senators, wanting to add more firepower to the lineup. So we'll keep tabs certainly on that. We know a lot of talk surrounding the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, yeah.
And so on. I talked about the silly season starting at the beginning of the Stanley Cup Final. It's here. It's going right through into the draft and into July 1. Stick with us here on the fourth period for more on that and more from the Stanley Cup Final. Game 4 gets going tonight. We'll catch you after the game. Dennis, Dave, see you later.